Welcome to the NFL. Today we're going to be talking about what would have happened if a team would have drafted Tom Brady that wasn't the Patriots. Tom Brady was drafted in the 199th draft of the 2000 NFL Draft by the New England Patriots out of Michigan. There were 6 quarterbacks that were drafted before Tom Brady in the 2000 NFL Draft. The first one was Chad Pennington, who was drafted by the New York Jets. Then Giovanni Carmazzi, who was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. Then Chris Redman, who was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Then T. Martin, who was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then Mark Bulger, who was drafted by the Saints. And right before Tom Brady, Surgeon Wynn was drafted by the Browns. To decide which team will be drafting Tom Brady in our imaginary NFL 2000 draft, we're going to look at the 2000 rosters and see which NFL team was in most need of a good quarterback. Keep in mind that the reason that Tom Brady wasn't drafted by a Sooner team was because of his horrible performance at the NFL Combine. But now Tom Brady is the #1 player in the NFL and is arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play football in the NFL. The team that did the worst in the 2000 NFL season was the Cleveland Browns. In their final standings, they were 2-14. This reminds you that some things just will never change. The quarterbacks for the Cleveland Browns in the year 2000 were Tim Couch from Kentucky, Doug Peterson from Northeast Louisiana, who now coaches the Philadelphia Eagles, Kevin Thompson, who was drafted out of Penn State, and Spurgeon Wynn, who was drafted in the same year as Tom Brady, right before Tom Brady in the 2000 draft, out of Southwest Texas State. None of these quarterbacks were what I would call playoff material. This is because of their 2-14 record. Tom Brady didn't start until the season after he was drafted. This was the result of Bledsoe playing poorly and being injured. Although he didn't start when he came to New England, if Tom Brady would have been drafted by the Cleveland Browns, he would have started as their quarterback. If we want this video to go farther than, well, the Browns failed again that year, then we're going to have to also suggest that Bill Belichick didn't leave the Browns in the 90s. This would mean that the dynamic duo of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady would be reborn on the Cleveland Browns. Just in case you were wondering, the draft replacement would be that Surgeon Wynn would not have been drafted by the Browns, and instead that draft pick would have been used on Tom Brady. This pick was just a few picks before Tom Brady's pick. Now, you have a mastermind head coach and a pretty decent greatest of all time quarterback. What about a general manager and an owner to seal the deal? The current owners of the Cleveland Browns are Jimmy and Dee Haslam. Also, Dwight Clark was the general manager of the Cleveland Browns at this time. But since 2000, the general manager situation for the Cleveland Browns has been on and off. They've had some good ones and they've had some bad ones. It's almost every season that they get a new general manager. 2 days ago, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns was fired and a new one was hired. But going back to the fact that Bill and Brady can do a lot with nothing, I don't think the general manager situation would have been in such jeopardy had Bill and Brady been there, because I think that there would have been more success. So I did a little soul searching, and I gave the Browns the benefit of the doubt. And I came out with their season ending in 11-5, which would result in them making the playoffs, being not in the wild card round. This would mean that they would play Miami after Miami won the wild card round. Then they would hopefully win that game, and I think they could. Then they would go and they would play the AFC Championship against Baltimore. I think that would be a loss. Why do I think this would be a loss? Because Baltimore had the skill to go and win the Super Bowl. So I think that the Browns, with this year, wouldn't have been able to do that, despite having both Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And, well, you know the story. From here on out, Belichick and Brady go to win 5 Super Bowls together. Just kidding. That's not how it would be if they were on the Browns. I think the Cleveland Browns would be able to pull off only 3 Super Bowls. The reason that I think 3 instead of 5 is because I don't think that the Cleveland Browns really have the ability to go and as a franchise improve to the point where they can win 5 Super Bowls. Doesn't matter who you got at quarterback. You've got to have decent run game and decent offensive line, decent defense, and decent wide receivers. This is something that I think Cleveland has. They just don't have championship material.